Hey, what's up, VC? It's Steve again, Harmless Rebel, and it's time for another heavy metal update. First off, in the background, we're listening to the new Megadeth Picture Disc for Countdown to Extinction. As I mentioned in my last video, it sounds killer. I mean, you can hear it. Let me know what you guys think. Let's just kind of jump in. I got a pretty good mix of stuff here, so let's get going. First up, I pre-ordered this, and for some reason my order got all screwed up, and while everybody else got this a while back, I just barely got my copy yesterday. So Ace Frehley, Space Invader. I've only actually given this one spin so far, but I really dig what I hear so far. And let's be honest, it's Ace Frehley. You know, there's really not anything he's put out that I wasn't a fan of. So I would definitely recommend checking this out if you're a fan. Next up, so these next three were albums. One of them was an album I had intended to buy at some point. I just didn't intend on buying them. Actually, most of these that I'm about to show, let me see, all but one or two, I picked up at Second and Charles, which is like a half-price books type of place. I brought in this huge crate of probably 150 records, and it was thrift store, castaways, and stuff that I picked up in collections that I never intended on keeping. You know, stuff like Loggins and Messina, crap like that, you know. So I took that there, you know, thinking I would get 20 or 30 bucks in trade for the few that they wanted. They ended up taking about 40 of the albums and gave me about $110 in trade, which I was pretty surprised and happy about. But so as I was digging through their records, I noticed the Kiss represses. There's a couple that I definitely want to get just because they either haven't released them in the past or they released them in such a small number that I couldn't afford them. So that's what one of these is. And then the others, so what had happened was there were 3 albums mispriced. All of them were priced in the 30s, and the double albums were in their 40s. You know, $34.99, $35.99. And then I found these 3 that for some reason were priced at $23.99. So I grabbed them up, hoping that they wouldn't catch it at the register, and they didn't. So I picked up all 3 of them. But the first one is Psycho Circus. Now this one they have released on vinyl before, but it was real limited. I want to say it's $100+ to get a copy of the original. So I just never did that. See the hologram there. And this is one I've had on CD, so I was real happy to get it on vinyl as well. I also picked up Music from the Elder, again $23.99. This one's in a really nice gatefold. And this one's funny. I've actually been looking this for a while. I used to run across this on vinyl all the time, and for some reason over the last year or so, it's just kind of disappeared. So to see this and to see it was only priced at $23.99, I had to pick it up. I actually really like this album too. A lot of people don't because it's not the Kiss sound. I kind of like the sound that they were playing in this, you know. I liked Paul Stanley's vocals in here. I thought it was really cool. So again, I was happy to pick this one up. Music from the Elder. And it's funny, I was actually just reading in the last couple of days that somebody is finally making a film adaptation of the Elder, and it's supposed to come out in 2015. So we'll see. And then the next one is Kiss, their first album. I love this album. This is probably my second favorite. I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, you got Strutter, Nothing to Lose, Firehouse, Cold Gin, Deuce, Black Diamond. When I saw them in 2011, I think they played about 7 songs off of this album alone. So, great album though. And actually, I didn't have that one. I wanted to buy it, you know, probably 50 times, but every time I run across copies of it, they're just trashed. I mean, I think that's probably one of the most loved of the Kiss albums that everybody has, other than obviously Alive. And every time I run across copies, they're just beat to shit. So I was pretty happy to finally run across a good copy, and you know, obviously being a new copy. The rest of these are a mix of stuff that I got as part of that trade, and then also as a couple of them I picked up at the Antique Mall this last weekend. So the first one's Autograph. This is Loud and Clear. This is their last album of the 80s and the last album of the original lineup. I don't think they did another album until like the late 90s, early 2000s, if I remember correctly. But and this one is pretty much straight up glam, but still a good album to have. I always kind of dug that band. Let's see. I also picked up a copy of. This was one I did as part of the trade. I couldn't get a signal there, so I couldn't check my. So I'll just show it. So this is the first MSG album, Michael Schenker Group. And I couldn't remember if I had this. And I've got my collection on Discogs, so I was trying to get onto a connection to Discogs, and I just couldn't get it in the to connect in the store. So I just ended up picking it up. I was right, I do have it. So if anybody's looking for a copy of the first MSG album, let me know. I'll send that out to you, or we can work out a trade or something. Next up, Aaron just showed this one the other day. It's funny, I had bought it that maybe the day before he showed it. This is Face to Face from Angel City. If you have the Australian copy, which is what I think he showed, it would just be Angel. They had to change it because of the glam metal Angel here in the U.S. It's a cool album. It gets heavy at times. There's being from Australia, they're from Sydney. Maybe they're from Adelaide, I can't remember. But they were definitely influenced by AC/DC. This was 78 when this one came out. And you can hear a little bit of AC/DC in there. I almost hear, and you know, Aaron, tell me what you think. I almost hear a little bit of Tom Petty in there. I don't know why. There's something about the vocals, especially on the B-side, that just make me think of Tom Petty. But they do definitely have that AC/DC sound, and it's not an AC/DC ripoff by any means. They definitely have their own style there. I just hear different elements of different artists at the same time. So still worth checking out. It's a good album. And then this one's a stamp promo. I also picked up Free for All from Ted Nugent. This is probably my second favorite of his. His self-titled is my favorite by far. This one's a close second. Great album. You should definitely have this in your collection. His first 3 or 4 albums for me are just him at his best. I like pretty much everything he's put out, don't get me wrong, but man, those first 3 or 4 albums are just fucking amazing. Let's see, next up, picked up a couple of Rad albums. I've had both of these on tape and on CD. Actually, I think I have a couple on tape, but I could have swore I had them both on vinyl too, and I pulled out my list and I didn't, so I grabbed them. These were part of the trade as well. This is Invasion of Your Privacy, which I don't need to get into. I mean, everybody's pretty much familiar with this. I'm not sure what this deal is here. Somebody drew a big circle there for some reason, but... And then also Dancing Undercover. I also, in that trade, picked up a copy of Women and Children First. I already had a copy of this, but my copy's not in the best condition. This one's a lot cleaner, and it's only $4, so couldn't pass up on that. Next up was Quiet Riot 3, or QR3. I never got why it was QR3 because I believe it's their 5th album, but whatever. This is a really weird album in that they added kind of that AOR keyboard sound, but it was still heavy. And honestly, had they left out the keyboard completely, this would have been a kick-ass album. I think this minus the keyboard is a better album than Condition Critical, and on the same level as Metal Health. But the keyboard is kind of, the whole time you're just like, why is that there? Outside of that, though, it's still a good album. It's still pretty heavy, you know. And last but not least, I picked up the first Uriah Heep album. This is the US version. I actually already had the UK version, which is very heavy, very humble. And there's one song difference. I think this one has, give me a second. I think Bird of Prey is the different song. I don't think Bird of Prey is on the UK pressing. Let me check though. I know there's one song difference between the two. Yeah, so that one's got Bird of Prey on it. The UK copy doesn't. So, but and that's the main reason. I mean, honestly, I would have bought it anyway, even if it was the same albums. I mean, they're different pressings, but so here you go. You got the, like I said, the UK pressing on the paper thin. I mean, it's ridiculous how thin those old UK sleeves are, and then the nice beefy American gatefold copy with a nice wide shot of the band on the inside there, and some pretty killer artwork there. I've always loved this album cover. But so that's it for this update, VC. I mean, I got a bunch of other stuff to show. I've probably got another 15 or 20 albums that I just haven't got around to listening to yet. I want to give them a listen before I talk about them. Some of them are albums that I'm new to, and I'm sure that you guys are going to be new to them as well. So I want to be able to talk about them. But that's it, guys. I hope you have a good one, and take care, VC.